Karlie Redd from Love and Hip Hop has just been hit with a felony burglary charge. This is her mugshot. Her real name is Karlie Lewis, and police say she broke into the home of her estranged husband Tilu back in January and allegedly stole things like a birth certificate, a watch, and a card. A video reportedly shows her peeking through a window of the garage and getting into the home through a master bedroom door. The arrest warrant was signed on April 4th. She turned herself in and was released on a $15,000 bond. Her attorney, Steve Sadow, who actually represents President Donald Trump in his case here in Georgia, says this case will be resolved favorably. This case gets even messier because her estranged husband Tilu is facing a family violence charge in a case also involving Karlie Redd.
Nobody expected this from Karlie Redd. The Love and Hip Hop Atlanta star, known for her drama-filled storylines, relationship chaos, and larger-than-life personality, is now at the center of a real-life legal scandal that sounds more like a movie script than a reality show plot. But this time, it's not about cheating boyfriends or cast member feuds. It's about felony charges, broken glass, and a missing $16,000 Rolex. At 52 years old, Karlie Redd, whose real name is Karlie Lewis, was arrested in DeKalb County on a felony burglary charge involving her estranged husband, Demetrius Tello Belton. And what followed was a whirlwind of explosive allegations, security footage that paints a suspicious picture, and a high-profile attorney who also happens to represent Donald Trump in Georgia's election interference case. Fans were stunned when Karlie broke her silence on Instagram, thanking supporters and vowing to clear her name. But the details in the police report only raised more questions. Why was Karlie allegedly sneaking around her husband's home? What was hidden under her hoodie? And how did this entire saga spiral into the biggest scandal of her career? From a toxic marriage and explosive divorce, to missing valuables and a burglary caught on camera, this isn't just reality TV drama anymore. This is real. And what's coming next might be even messier than anyone expected. On April 23rd, Karlie Redd did what few reality stars ever imagine. They turned themselves in on a felony charge. After weeks of whispers, screenshots, and swirling rumors, it became official. The 52-year-old Love and Hip Hop Atlanta veteran was now facing a burglary charge in DeKalb County, Georgia. Her mugshot hit the internet within hours. But this wasn't a petty drama for the cameras. This was a real criminal case with serious implications. Karlie, whose legal name is Karlie Lewis, was accused of breaking into her estranged husband's home in broad daylight, shattering a bedroom door, and walking off with high-priced items. It was a far cry from her usual glam posts and reality TV shade. This was raw, unfiltered scandal. Despite the severity of the charge, Karlie was released the same day on a $15,000 bond, with a court-ordered condition that she have no contact with her husband, Demetrius Tello Belton. And as the media scrambled for details, fans were left stunned, wondering how the same woman who once dominated Atlanta's TV screens had become the center of a real-life criminal investigation. But as wild as the arrest sounds, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Because when you dig into Karlie's relationship with Belton, a disturbing picture starts to form. And it might explain how everything spiraled out of control. Behind the shocking arrest is a relationship that had already been unraveling for months, maybe even years. Karlie Redd and Demetrius Tello Belton weren't just another celebrity couple going through a quiet separation. Their marriage had become toxic, explosive, and dangerously volatile. According to Karlie's legal team, the couple is currently in the middle of a heated divorce, and the tension between them has only gotten worse since it began. But here's where the story takes a disturbing turn, because long before Karlie was accused of burglary, her husband was facing serious charges of his own. Court records confirm that Belton was previously charged with family violence battery against Karlie in Fulton County. That revelation flipped the narrative for many fans. Was Karlie really just an angry, estranged wife breaking the law? Or was she acting out of fear, desperation, or retaliation against a man who had already crossed the line? Her attorney, Steve Sadow, didn't hold back either. In his statement, he made it clear that Karlie's history with Belton and his past behavior would be a key part of her defense. And with a high-profile lawyer like Sadow, who's currently representing Donald Trump in the Georgia election case, Karlie's team clearly isn't playing defense. They're gearing up for war. But just when you think the divorce drama couldn't get messier, the burglary itself revealed a chain of events even stranger than the arrest itself. The arrest made headlines, but the actual events leading up to it are what really raised eyebrows. According to a detailed police report from the DeKalb County Police Department, everything started on January 12th when officers were called to a home on Lively Ridge Road for a reported burglary. The victim? Karlie's estranged husband, Demetrius Belton. At first, it didn't seem like much. Belton told police he'd been out of town and had only just returned on January 15th, 3 days after the break-in. When he walked in, he noticed that the glass on the rear bedroom door had been shattered. But here's the twist. Initially, he said nothing appeared to be missing. It seemed like an odd, almost clumsy break-in. No forced entry at the front, no signs of looting or ransacking, just a broken door in the back and some uneasy silence. But the calm didn't last long, because once Belton reviewed the home's security footage, the entire story shifted. That video, captured by cameras installed by the property's landlord, would become the centerpiece of the investigation. And what it allegedly showed was enough to turn suspicion into charges and turn Karlie Redd into the prime suspect. Once investigators got their hands on the home's security footage, everything changed. What seemed like a vague burglary report suddenly became a visual timeline of exactly what went down, and the woman seen in the video looked a lot like Karlie Redd. The footage reportedly shows a woman walking along the side of the home, cautiously peering into windows before heading straight to the rear bedroom, the same one with shattered glass. Moments later, she's seen stepping into the house through that broken door. No hesitation, no signs of panic, just calm, calculated movement. But it didn't stop there. Later in the footage, the woman appears again in the garage area, this time placing a white object under her hoodie and slipping a black object into her pants pocket. Throughout the entire incident, she's allegedly on the phone, talking, coordinating, or maybe just trying to act casual. Either way, it gave the impression of someone who wasn't scared or rushed, someone who may have planned this. And perhaps the most damning piece, Belton told police Karlie had never lived at the property. She wasn't on the lease, wasn't welcome, and definitely wasn't given permission to be there. That detail instantly turned the situation from a possible misunderstanding to a serious criminal charge. But the question on everyone's mind was, what was taken? Because if nothing was missing, why would Karlie risk it all to break in? That answer came shortly after, and it made everything even more personal. At first, it seemed like nothing had been taken. Belton told officers that despite the broken door and suspicious entry, his belongings appeared untouched. But after reviewing the footage and taking a closer look around, the truth started to surface. And it wasn't just about missing property, it was about what was missing. According to the revised police report, Belton claimed several high-value and highly personal items were gone. At the top of the list, a $16,000 Rolex watch, a statement piece that isn't easy to misplace. But that wasn't all. Also missing were his birth certificate and a debit card, items that don't just have financial value, but carry serious personal and legal implications. These weren't random electronics or household goods. These were items that spoke to identity, access, and status. A luxury watch, proof of identity, and a direct link to his bank account. It raised a new question. Was this burglary about revenge, or was it about control? Adding to the drama, the items Karlie allegedly concealed in the footage matched the descriptions. A white object under her hoodie, possibly a watch box, and something small and dark in her pocket, perhaps the card. The pieces were starting to fit, and investigators were taking it seriously. But Karlie's silence couldn't last forever. With her name trending and the case gaining traction, the reality star finally stepped forward to speak, publicly and strategically. As whispers turned to headlines and blogs ran wild with speculation, Karlie Redd finally broke her silence. But instead of a messy online rant or defensive livestream, she kept it brief and strategic. Taking to Instagram, Karlie posted a calm but calculated message. "Thank you for all your prayers, support, and concerns in my DMS and text messages. Love y'all," she wrote. No mention of the arrest, no denial, just appreciation and a quiet confidence that didn't go unnoticed. But the real message came not from Karlie herself, but from her lawyer, Steve Sato, a name that raised eyebrows instantly. Known for defending high-profile clients like Donald Trump in Georgia's election interference case, Sato isn't your average defense attorney. His involvement signaled one thing: Karlie was preparing for a serious legal fight. In his statement, Sato didn't mince words. He reminded the public that Karlie and her husband were in the middle of a contentious divorce and that Belton had already been charged with family violence battery against her. Then came the kicker: "I am very confident Karlie's case will be resolved favorably." It was more than just damage control, it was a warning shot. Karlie's team wasn't backing down. They were leaning into a defense that painted her not just as a reality star accused of a crime, but as a woman trying to protect herself in the middle of a long and bitter war with a man who'd allegedly hurt her before. But with footage, missing property, and a growing media storm, would that be enough? Because as the legal drama heats up, many are now asking the question no one expected to ask about Karlie Redd. Was she set up, or did she snap? Or did